Hey, you fish freaks. Welcome to episode number 110 of the Kayak Fishing Obsessed Podcast, your ultimate source for all things kayak fishing. And special thanks right off the bat to our show sponsor, Dark Horse Tackle. I got my new box in the mail, brother. Oh yeah.
No.
You know what I got in there, which I'm pretty excited about? Mad Mouth Bass. Sorry, over here.
Yeah.
We got the football head Shakeyhead 3/16 ounce. So these things are, I'm pretty
I
excited.
use their
about this
stuff literally every time I go fishing.
Mad Mouth?
No.
Dark Horse.
Dark Horse. Yeah, Dark Horse. The
So I
Magnum
thought this was timely, considering we have Casey Reed on tonight, and known for shaky head fishing, which, to be completely honest with you, I'm about to get learned tonight, because shaky head fishing is fishing that I've done before, but not something I do often. So I'll typically move to other types of techniques, but Casey uses it as like a primary weapon. So looking forward to getting learned. I'm pumped. And special thanks to Harold Shaw, it's my latest channel member. So thank you so much, Harold. Many of you know, if you follow the channel, I went full-time three months ago. And so things are going well, and it's thanks to people like Harold. So thank you so much for supporting the channel in that way. Seth, Duck Watch 2025. There once was 8 mallards. Now there's only 5 mallards. How many mallards do we have right now?
We're still at 5. So
still at 5. That's on a non-kill streak.
Fairy One Fishing in the comments section needs an add a duck to their emojis there.
Yeah,
we're still at 5. They're getting big.
I'm here for the duck count.
Yeah.
Those things are probably getting pretty big now, right?
Yeah, they're big. They're too big for the brooder, so we let them outside during the day, let them wander around. We just have so many thunderstorms right now.
That sounds like a release, Seth.
No, it's the yard's fenced in.
Oh, okay.
And they can't fly, so no release. It's not illegal. Yeah. So they're doing well. I think they're going to make it to the finish line. I don't know if the owls will get them in the yard one day or what will happen, but. They'll eventually go to a rescue farm.
Okay. So I know people on the show last week would love them to come to their farm to table, that is. And so I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
so
we're making it. We're going to get those to the finish line. They're going to be adults.
When is adulthood for a mallard duck?
I don't know. It's not right now. We're at like 6 weeks, so I think they'll be fully feathered in we're 5 or 6 weeks. Another like 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
They just get big fast, man. Like they're like big old ducks now.
Big ducks. Old ducks. There you go.
Anyway, you doing any fishing lately, Darren?
Yes, actually. I've been like really delving into Lake Erie. I'm actually heading out tomorrow morning.
The drums. I knew it.
It's not the drums. Last time I went, I'm using the Z-Man Gobius, and I am just dragging along the bottom, and every time it gets bit, it gets ping ting. It's like crap. Walleye took another one. So got some leaders. That's not happening tomorrow morning. So I hope to pick up a crap ton of walleye. Jake Cook, Jake the fishing guy on YouTube, is coming with me. A different Jake. I usually fish with another Jake, but his dog just has puppies nonetheless. So he's never caught a drum before. I was like, bro, you're gonna catch like 15 tomorrow. We're gonna make this happen. So getting some fishing in. The biggest thing I'm doing is rewrote the KFAS curriculum today. Took about 7 hours. Made what was 78 pages, 48 pages. Really just saying the same thing in less words to make it more enjoyable for those listening in and learning throughout that. So it's still coming down the pipeline. I'm getting more and more pumped the closer
When's the release for that?
We get. You know, the release is hard. We don't have like a hard release date. We just want it to be excellent. And so it takes a little extra time when you go the extra mile to make that.
I could have used it today. I was out on Lake Okeechobee 6 miles and the thunderstorm started rolling in. And 6 miles, man, that took me, it's like an hour and a half when I'm just like taking it easy to get out there. And I was pedaling as hard as I could, using the trolling motor to get back before that lightning came. It's that sketchy stuff, man. The lightning stuff and Okeechobee, it's completely flat. Like there's nothing to hide in. And if you want to hide in something, like the little islands, there's just gators everywhere.
Yeah.
Like I was
get out and lay on the ground, laying flat on the ground, snuggle in one of those nests.
It was one of those few times when you're like out and you're like, yeah, this is dangerous. Like this is not a position I want to be in. There's only been like a few times in my life where that's happened, whether it be hunting or fishing. And that was one of them. I was like, yeah, this is not how I want to go. So I made it back. I'm here. Made it for the show.
And I actually just was writing the section on lightning today. And so we'll have to have a conversation. Hopefully Chris can stand with that. All right. Now all that's off to the side. That was fun. But the meat of tonight, unlocking the Shakeyhead, tips, tricks, and techniques. Let's bring my man, Casey Reed. Casey, how's it going, brother? All right.
Doing real well. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Oh, heck yeah. So have you been doing any fishing recently?
I actually been taking it a little bit easy recently. Been going out to the local lake here and there, but kind of skipped a couple tournaments here recently and just kind of been chilling more or less. And I'm gonna start preparing for next year here soon. But just been having fun really.
Why the break? It's like season. Where are you at, by the way?
I'm in Virginia.
Oh, okay. So you can like chill out because your season really doesn't come to a screeching halt like it does up here in Ohio.
Yeah. We don't have a screeching halt here. I mean, you can fish all year here. I don't generally bass fish a lot during the winter. I kind of switch gears and go chase some striper here at Smith Mountain Lake. Once it starts getting real cold and those stripers start moving up.
You know what? I've never caught a striper in my entire life. Seth?
I haven't either.
No?
White bass, not quite the same.
White bass, got the white bass. I mean, I want to get a hold of it. I actually think there's some stripers on the lake near me. I just don't know how to fish for them. Casey, how do you fish for them?
So
live?
I kind of cheat and I just go out at night and fish dock lights and find the bait and the stripers are there. When you find those lights that have been on for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They're not on everyone, but you fish enough of them, you're going to come across them. So, but stripers are hard to pinpoint in my opinion. Like I've never been able to just go out in the day and like target stripers. They're crazy fish, but they're so much fun to catch.
Are they like on the move often? Is that the reason they're difficult to nail down?
Yeah, they definitely move a lot, and a lot of times they're in a lot deeper water too. So if you're not used to fishing real deep, and depending on the time of the year, obviously, but if you're not used to fishing real deep, it can be hard to fish for them all year long. But if you know what you're doing, people go out there and. Like I think during the summer, they're out there throwing big spoons, jigging them up and down, in like 40, 50, 60 feet of water in the treetops and stuff and catching them. Man. But I haven't found out how to do that. But like I said, I'll go out at night and just throw, like a fluke on a jig head. And you can see them in the underwater green lights. You'll see them over there ambushing bait. And You'll be sneaking up on those lights, and you'll see the big shadows just rolling through there, and your heart just starts pumping, and it gets exciting. That's what I'm actually getting excited for in the next 2 months. I think we'll start thinking about doing that.
I love it. You got some people over here in the comment section. Low life anglers saying hybrids on the bottom, troll spin baits. Valentin boys stop fishing. I find them deep in Mojave every time. Also said about 60 to 70 feet deep. Utopia outdoorsmen. Stripers are brutes. Well, looks like I'm just going to have to drive 30 minutes down the road to this one lake that I know has them. I just need to go with somebody who knows the crap they're doing. Because we don't have a lot of docks on the lakes around here. And so to find that setup is difficult. Probably not impossible. We'll see. All right. Well, folks. Say what?
Striper on a shaky head, Darren?
Yeah. I don't know.
I probably have caught one on a shaky head before, but I don't think it's not something that happens very often.
I bet. Well, Casey, before we hop into the tactical and you share your masterful ways of the shaky head with us, for listeners who may not know you yet, can you share a little bit about your background, how you got into competitive kayak bass fishing? For those of you listening in right now and you're not actually watching this, which by the way, Seth, we started putting the video podcast on Spotify and stuff like that, so you can listen to the audio and the video. There's a bunch of KBF trophies behind you. You got checks on the wall. It's a lot of fun. So tell us a little bit about your background. You do a little bit of content creation, but we talked in a green room a little bit, something that you're not super excited about.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to do that when you're just when you're tournament fishing all the time, it's just hard to focus on two different things at once for me anyways.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the content creation side's kind of fallen off for me, but I'm still going to try to work on it and get better at it.
Yeah. So how'd you get in? How long you been fishing? How long have you been doing the tournament thing?
So the tournament thing is probably, 10 years, I'd say 10, 11 years.
Okay.
I started, there was a little local group, had about 8, 10, 12 people in each tournament. And I'd fished with them for a year or two and, did pretty good with them. And then they kind of dismantled. And that was kind of about the time I found KBF and started fishing like online stuff with KBF. And they had a national championship. I think it was 2016 was the kind of first national championship.
Okay.
And, ended up going to that and just started. And then they started up the trail shortly after that and just kind of got real heavy into it. The more I fished tournaments, the more I wanted to fish. So
nice.
Yeah.
What tournament circuits do you typically run now?
So I'll fish just about anything I can. Right now I've been really focused on Bassmaster, since they're the only like kind of national trail that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
I fished at KBF, obviously, Hobie, when they were around, and then, some of Drew Gregory's events, the Kayak Adventure Series, and fished a couple of the team tournament series this year as well.
Nice. Are you doing any more of the KAS, or are you doing the national for KBF this year?
I'll be doing the national championship for KBF. I'm not fishing any more of the Kayak Adventure Series this year. We'll look and see what that looks like next year to jump into that a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
But
we'll be fishing against each other down at the Nationals. So I'll see you down there on Gunnersville here in November. So
are you going to Toledo Bend, Casey?
I'm not. I'm going to skip out on it.
Dang. Another one, Darren. All these people keep coming on. They're not going. I love it. That's 2 spots up for me. I'll be
I've done good on Toledo Bend before, but I've also done really crappy. So it's one of those things, and I've kind of just told myself I'm done for this year. I'm gonna kind of just get set up and focused for next year and get ready to hit it hard again.
That's awesome.
I got Marty Hughes in the comments saying, 1, Casey's hammering. 2, see you both there at the KBF Nationals. So good to see Marty again. Last time I saw him was in Canada, first time. So I'll see him again here in November. And so Casey, a couple questions for you. If someone listening in has never seen you fish, right? How would you describe your style?
I fish very methodically, but I fish very fast. I think most people would call me a finesse guy, but I like to think of it more as like a kind of power finesse. When I fish the Shakeyhead, I'm just kind of all over the place. I'm not sitting there just letting it soak all the time. I mean, there's times where you do that, but for the most part, I'm just casting at targets, getting that bait in there. If it's not getting bit, I'm just like moving on to the next one. I just, kind of moving fast, but slow. Like it's
powerful.
So it's interesting because the Shakeyhead is, maybe I'm wrong, commonly kind of known as the mop-up bait. It sounds like you lead with it. Is that true or not true?
I definitely do most of the time. Yeah.
I've done you say it's your confidence bait?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So let's start at the basics here. For those of you who are like, Shakeyhead, what the crap you talking about? If I've heard of it, maybe I don't know a whole lot about it. Walk us through your ideal Shakeyhead setup, your rod, your reel, your line, your jig head weight, how you vary your weights based off of what's going through your mind when it comes to depth. Your soft plastics, all that stuff. And if you happen to have any with you, I'd love to see those on the. All right. Take it away, brother. Go deep.
Yeah. So I use a 7.2 medium heavy action spinning setup.
Okay.
It's the cash and Shakeyhead rod is what I throw most of the time. Every once in a while, if I need a really if I'm fishing a big point where I just kind of covering a lot of water on each cast, I will switch to a bait caster, and especially if I'm throwing a little bit heavier of a jig head. But yeah, for the 95% of the time, it's on a spinning setup. I use braid to a fluorocarbon leader. I'll use 20 or sometimes even 30-pound braid to a 14 to 16-pound leader on that. And I like having – I throw it in a lot of places. People would say that you have to have a bait caster to, horse a fish out of. Right in the middle of a lay down, I've pulled many a fish out of there with a medium heavy spinning rod.
I would have lost money on that bet. Seth?
What's up?
I would have lost money on that bet. How about you?
With what? Throwing a spinner?
What you fish a shaky head on? Maybe I just have giant shaky heads that I've never used, and I keep looking at them like, oh, that must be. Well, I guess I'm looking at this isn't that big, so I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Sorry. There you go.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear in the sizes, the weights, and all that.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
So for a half ounce, it definitely would be better on a bait caster, in my opinion. I throw 3/16. I don't know if you can tell. It's not huge, but that's the weight that I throw most of the time. I use 1/8, 3/16, and 1/4 ounce is what I'll switch in between most of the time. Very rarely will I even go up to a half ounce.
Okay.
If I'm throwing it on a bait caster, most of the time I am throwing that 1/4 ounce, just because I'm fishing a little bit deeper and trying to drag it a little bit further. So I want it to kind of stay on the bottom, when I'm moving it around.
What's your reasoning for the smaller weights, like the 1/4 ounce, 3/16? What's your reasoning for going real light in your weights? Is it so when you bounce it flutters slower on that bounce, or dragging, or what's your thought process on that?
I mean, really, I started fishing it skipping docks. Here at Smith Mountain Lake, there's docks everywhere, and that's where I kind of got into Shakeyhead fishing, because it was what most people did, and just being able to skip it. For me, that 1/8 ounce or 3/16 ounce just skips so easy, and depending on what bait you have on there too. But yeah, mainly that was the reason for it. I mean, for me, it gets down. I can fish the 3/16 in 15 feet of water, and it doesn't take that long for it to get to the bottom. When you're just using a straight worm, it just falls really quick through the water.
So how are your lakes set up? Because I know we had someone on last week. Like, hey, I fish Highland Reservoirs. It was Bass Geek. He was in Tennessee, and he was basically, hey, it goes from the bank, where I'm at. It goes, a slow, kind of goes out, just tapered. It goes reservoir straight down 10, 15 feet. How are your lakes set up? Right. So when you're skipping these things on the dock, you skipping in a couple feet of water? Or are you skipping into 15 feet of water?
It just depends. Smith Mountain Lake is a highland reservoir, so you have a lot of deep water right off of the banks, but you also, you still have some shallower water. So, it could be, I've been on the ends of docks skipping under them before, sitting in, 45 feet of water. But you're casting up there into, 6, 10, maybe even as deep as 15 foot of water. Is if you get way up under that dock, that's where your bait's kind of falling into, and you're just kind of working it back. But there's also docks, that are in 4 foot of water there when you're on the end of them. So it just kind of depends. And that's really, you just got to figure out kind of where they're at that time, if they're on those deeper docks or if they're on those shallower docks.
Yeah. So you mentioned.
Go ahead, Darren.
No, mine's completely kind of in a different direction. So go ahead and ask.
So these fish that are on the docks, if you're throwing a shaky head, are they are these like suspended fish that are going to chase it down, or are these ones sitting on the bottom? Say it's like a 10-foot on a dock, you're throwing a shaky head. Are these fish chasing it down on the bottom and eating it, or how are the fish positioned for this?
A lot of times they are, yeah. A lot of times you'll see them, and now that live scope's a thing, you can actually see them, and you'll see them dive down and go and get that bait. I mean, there's some that are on the bottom too. It just kind of depends. But yeah, I think a lot of them are just like kind of chilling up under the dock and the water column, and not necessarily sitting on the bottom.
Yeah. They just watch them swim on down to the bottom and just wait for it. Are you? No, I guess it's different for each scenario, whether it's on brush or docks. But once you cast in, and say you're not on live scope, you're just doing a blind, but you cast in and it falls down to the bottom. What are you doing from there? Once you feel hit the bottom, what's your like cadence, or where do you go from there?
So I like to tell people, like, there's not a wrong way to fish a shaky head. It's really kind of fishing it different ways until you really figure out how the fish wants it. I mean, sometimes it's hopping it, kind of bringing it up off the bottom, a foot or two. And sometimes it's just slowly dragging it, and anything in between. It could literally be all that. So really I'll try to I start by kind of moving it fast, not really hopping it real high, but just giving it little pops and moving it along the bottom, and then kind of just go out from there and just kind of play around with it until you start getting bit. Because there's been some times where you literally have to just drag it really slow and stop it, like hit a rock or hit a stump and just let it sit there. And then after sitting there for a second, they'll pick it up. But if you hop it, quick around that stump, you're just not going to get bit. But other times you can just keep moving it, and they're just in that mood where they're just going to attack it no matter what.
So is there, this is an interesting question. This is us peeling back the layer of the onion, like 7 layers deep here. But I'm also always curious about people who kind of specialize in a certain type of technique. Like, typically you specialize in you do the thing first that gets you the most bites, and then you kind of start changing it up. What is the thing that gets you the technique or the retrieve that gets you the most bites? And then what's your next one, and what's your next one, and what's your next one? I'm curious.
So I think popping it, just like giving it that little shake of the rod tip, just imparting a little bit of action on that bait, not too much, not a ton, and not just kind of dead sticking it. But that's kind of my go-to, I'd say.
So short pops. We're talking just a few inches off the bottom, just like something's feeding off the bottom.
Exactly. Just kind of hopping it across the bottom like that. Yeah. The biggest thing for me is, like I kind of hit on it earlier, when I'm not necessarily just like making long casts and bringing that bait back all the way back to the kayak. I'm using the electronics. I'm using my eyes. I'm seeing what's out there, and hitting those individual targets. So a lot of times that bait's just in whatever target it is, whether it's a stump, a lay down, a brush pile, a set of rocks, a rock pile, whatever it is, I'm kind of hitting those targets, fishing it fairly quickly, but using that hop and making a little bit of movement with that bait, and then reeling it back in and making that cast over again, rather than just like bringing it all the way back to the boat. It's really, I mean, you've heard people talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
But targeting the high percentage areas and just making those casts over and over again. And if you have live and you can see a fish, follow the bait maybe, or, you don't even have to necessarily see those fish, but I'll definitely make a few casts if I know there's something there and I think there could be a fish on there.
Any other questions, Seth?
Yeah, there's a question I wanted to ask. Someone actually put it in the chat. I'll show it here.
There you go.
Utopia Outdoorsman asks, what does the shaky head do better than a jig or a Nico rig on docks? So for me, I don't throw a shaky head too often. I used to do it more when I was in the Northeast, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio. But down here, I do a little bit more Nico. I don't know why. I just kind of fell into Nico now. and I do Nico rigs all the time. So like, is there an advantage to throwing a Shakeyhead over a Nico?
I've actually never thrown a Nico rig. In my opinion, it's very similar. Like, obviously there's some differences. I'm not super picky about how I my baits and how I do different things. I know there's so many people that are like, oh, you have to do this or have to do. I found a Shakeyhead works for me, but in my opinion, a Nico rig is very, very similar and would probably catch most of those fish that a Shakeyhead's going to catch. You know, to me, it's the confidence that I have in a Shakeyhead.
Right.
So for you, it sounds like it's the Nico. And I mean, if you're catching fish on it, for me, it's like, why change it up? I mean, I'm sure there's other things, there's certain situations, but in my head, I don't do that much of deep dive into thinking about baits like that, which probably bites me sometimes. But
what about the size of the worm, whether it's the length or like a thicker worm, or do you do like, is there a certain worm that you like the most? There it is. For those listening in, he's showing on the screen. What is that bad boy?
Green
so that's
long. Oh,
yeah.
Zoom.
So it's a 7-inch. It's the Zoom Shakeyhead worm.
Has like a not a bulbous tail. It has like a straight tail on it or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a pin tail. It to me, it really has it has a lot of action you can put in it. Like, you don't have to do much, and that thing just shakes like crazy. And to me, that's my go-to. And pretty much that's the only thing I throw on a Shakeyhead. Sometimes I'll downsize, go from like a 7-inch to like a 5-inch or maybe even 4-inch. But most of the time, that's what I'm throwing.
Why would you downsize? Like, what's going through your mind whenever you're like, hey, outside of they're just not hitting the 7, I need to downsize for, or is there something specifically you're like, oh, before you even go out, you already downsized because you know they want a smaller presentation?
Most of the time, it's if they're just like, you can feel them just picking up the tail of it.
Got it.
You set the hook a bunch of times and you got nothing. So that's when I'll downsize. That's about
the only time. In the moment.
Yeah. Most of the time, like I'm not just putting on a smaller bait. It's if I feel that happening while I'm out fishing, then I'll downsize a bit.
I love it, Seth. I was expecting Casey to be like, "Oh, I use this specialized worm from this, local company." He's like, "Nope, Zoom."
No, I like it. I feel like Casey and I are like in the same wavelength.
You guys are.
When
you find something it works, you mop up with it.
You just run it. Yeah, I love it.
Couple questions here. Let's go over to the audience because some people making comments. Southwest Indiana Outdoors. So I threw it. It's talking about the Shakeyhead for probably an hour yesterday without a bite. Was dragging it on a grass flat. Don't know if that was right or wrong. Casey, anything that goes through your mind when you hear that comment?
No. So a lot of people were like, don't fish it around grass, but it's a great bait to fish. I mean, you can't fish it in thick grass. I mean, it just won't get down, but I've caught a lot of fish with like sparse grass growing on points and stuff like that. And just being able to drag it through that grass, you can feel the grass ticking it. And I've caught a lot of fish doing it like that through like grass flats, which a lot of people will not pick it up and do that there.
No, that's not what I'm thinking, but hey, you never know. So there you go, Southwest. You're not doing it wrong. You just might not have been there at that moment. And his wife, classic kayaker. Caught my first fish on a Shakeyhead last Saturday. I think it was a complete accident and not skill because I'm not even sure I was doing it right. Well, hopefully by the end of this podcast, you will understand a little bit better about how to fish, at least how Casey fishes. And
like I said, there's no way to fish it wrong. So, I mean, if you caught a fish on it, you were doing something right. So,
here we got Low Life Angler. I need to get the Shakeyhead in my rotation. I know it did great in Ohio. You and me both, brother. You and me both. We already answered that question. Bart Foster had a comment over here. Was the Shakeyhead originally used to target Alabama spots? Or do I just remember that because I grew up in Alabama catching them that way? I don't know. I don't have any reference there. I got a bunch of head shaking on the screen here. All right, let's head back a little bit because I'm going to go back to something you said earlier. You mentioned that you fish it on a cash and rod. Interesting enough, I'm going to be receiving a line of icons here shortly, and I'll be kind of rotating my rod lineup over to the icon series. What do you run? This is more just for me. I'm curious. Are you fully set up with cashin, or do you have a variety of different rods that you like?
Yeah, I have all cashin rods.
All right, big fan. Or do you have the icon series or elements? What do you got?
Yeah, I have the icons. I have a few of the cruise icon rods.
So the nicer icons. More expensive.
They're all great rods. I absolutely love them. I mean, I've been using them for 4 or 5 years now.
Oh wow!
I absolutely love them.
Nice. Now, what's interesting about the cashin rods, if you guys aren't familiar, is their grip. Can you explain that a little bit, Casey? Because it's unique. It's not a wind grip or anything like that.
Yeah, so the grip is actually like pretty hard. A lot of people pick it up and think it's going to like slip out of your hands, you know, when you're fishing, when it gets wet a little bit, but it really, you can really hold on to it. It's not going to slip out of your hands. It actually, the grip being so hard actually helps you feel more from the rod tip. So anytime you get that bite, it's moving all the way down the rod and even into that grip. So you're going to feel it a lot better than you are with like a cork handle or any other kind of handle.
Yeah, I like it. Now, I do believe the element series is cork. When you get up the icon, they have the specialized wraps, but I look forward to getting my hands on them. I actually found a BFS cashin rod earlier this season. I pulled up a line. I was like, well, what's in the end of this? And it is a full BFS.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it not only was it a cashin rod, it was a, oh crap, what's that nice reel that was on it? Corrado. It was a Corado reel.
Yeah, somebody was upset. Somebody was upset.
It was, I don't know how it happened. I still have no idea because the line was out really far and this thing was in the water for a couple months. I couldn't save the reel, but if I could save the rod. But nonetheless, I'm still trying to figure it out. I mean, someone accidentally kicked it, but the line was out, and we're in a part. It was off a boat because I was in a part of the lake where you can't access from the bank. Just it was illegal access. So I don't know. It was interesting, very interesting. So all right, interesting. Well, I'm glad that you've had a long run with cashin. I look forward to getting my hands on those and use them. To Seth, have you ever used cashin rods before?
No, I haven't.
No. Why are you laughing?
Just because my rods are, I got the budget rods. I got the budget rods.
Right. Here's like Walmart combos. Win a tournament on the $79 Walmart Abus.
Rod and reel combo. The Abu Garcia, Jordan Lee's.
Hey, I was using those for a long time. Even after I got into tournament fishing, it was probably until I got to the, with cashin that I was using. I'd use Walmart stuff. I mean,
yeah,
it worked. No,
I have other rods. I have other rods as well, but those are like my utility rods that just go with me everywhere that I can throw pretty much anything on. But if I'm punching or top water, whatever, I switch it up. But just like a utility rod, those are good. The Abu Garcia, Jordan Lee's, they're like $70 for the rod and the reel, and they work well.
I have a loose Xfinity stick combo I'm going out with tomorrow as my my drop shot rig, and so hey man, I still use some of that stuff for some of my specialized rods. Now this is interesting. I was thinking about this, Casey, because when I was using just the loose Xfinity stick for a long time, you can see some of my videos when that bright orange or bright green spinning reel, I could barely handle a 6-pound bass. When I got into lure specific rods, it really was a game changer for me. It's like, holy crap, that's how a rod's supposed to handle that lure or handle that bass on that lure to get that hook set correct it blew my mind. when you want, it's not inexpensive to do it. I understand that. But once I started getting more and more into the sport and started investing more and more into the sport, did you notice that, or Seth, did you notice that as well when you start getting to lure specific rods? Did you notice any noticeable difference, or kind of like, meh, maybe it's just me?
And reels too, like ratio reels, like using the right ratio for like crankbaits and like, yeah, absolutely. It makes a huge difference. You can feel the fish, you can cast better, you can reel at the proper rate, and your hand doesn't get tired when you're cranking it. Yeah, like those are, using the correct rod makes a big difference, especially if you're tournament fishing, where you have a variety of different things you're going to be doing throughout the day. You need like a specific rod for the technique that you're fishing, and make a huge difference. But yeah, what about you, Casey? I'm sure you got the cash in lineup.
Yeah. I mean, it makes a huge difference for almost everything for me. I mean, for the longest time, I used just a medium heavy, throwing every single thing I could. But like, really, for me, like for like throwing a spinner bait and like a chatter bait, they make a great rod for both of those. And the kayak series specifically, we had the chattergrass rod, and that was an absolutely amazing rod. And I think they've gotten rid of the kayak series now, but they are making gonna make the chattergrass rod in the Icon, I believe. And that's an absolutely amazing rod.
So if you're at that point where, like, hey, you've been using the multi-purpose rod and reel, and you're thinking, hey, should I upgrade to, maybe you love fishing the chatterbait, and it might be a good idea to do some research, find a chatterbait rod, or whatever it is that you love to fish or fish the most. That's where it makes sense to upgrade, right? So it's definitely worth it if you've been bouncing it around in your head and you're listening in. Got a bunch of comments over here, Seth.
Yeah, I have a question too before we hit the comments.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll go over here.
So could you hold up one of your hooks, either Casey or Darren, whoever has one handy? So back when I used to, oh, you both got, okay. So look at Darren's keeper and look at Casey's keeper. Do you see how Darren's like points up away from the tip more than yours, Casey? Do you ever, like when I used to twist my worm on, it would make like this little rainbow, and it used to drive me nuts. Now I used to push him down and bend the keeper down.
Makes sense.
Do you ever have any, like, is there, I don't know, it just didn't look streamlined, right? It just had like this little rainbow in it. Did that ever cause a difference for your fish, or?
I don't know that it necessarily, I don't know if it did or not, but yes, I've definitely noticed that. And I actually was messing with this one. I tried to not have it bent down at all, which I may have had it bent down at all, but a lot of times I'll take it, if you can see it now.
Oh, wow.
It's bent down. So when I thread my worm on there, I'll use my thumb and push it all the way down. And I think that does a couple things. Like you said, it makes the bait way more in line when you Texas rig it on there, but it also keeps that hook point open where the fish gets it around there, and it has more room to get in there and get its mouth on it. When you set the hook, you're more likely going to have a better hook set on that.
Okay, so you bend yours down then pretty low.
I do, yeah.
All right. Yeah. I didn't manipulate.
That's always a good question. I wondered that too, Seth. I was like, hey, is it angled like that because that's how it's supposed to be, or is it angled that way because that's how, when you manufacture them, that's the easiest way to get them. You actually need to modify. I don't know. There's a video in there. A
video to be made.
Yeah, hacks.
The other thing about the hook keeper on there, or the bait keepers on there, on this bait in particular, it's fairly fine wire, so you can bend it easier. And also, like I was mentioning, if the fish happens to clamp down on that, it's gonna give a bit. That way you can make sure you still get that hook in it, rather than, so a lot of people are scared. They don't like throwing the keepers like this because of that, because they're like, it just, if the fish gets the whole thing in its mouth, when you set the hook, it's going to hit that wire, that bait keeper, and force its mouth open where you're not going to get that hook set. But having that softer wire bait keeper on there is a little bit better in my opinion.
I would imagine, tell me if I'm wrong, just by how this hook is designed, you don't miss many hook sets once they get the bite. You pin them in the top of the mouth often, I would assume.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, I got the comments over here. Might have to have a comment and then talk about it. So Utopia Outdoors, does this work well on both largemouth and smallmouth?
Yeah, it definitely does. Smallmouth and spots. Somebody commented something about spots earlier. Yeah. I don't know if it was made for spot fishing or not, but it definitely catches spots. Catches smallmouth, catches largemouth, catches catfish.
Oh, really? Pick up some.
Yeah.
I love it.
I call it
the occasional big old catfish.
Caught a catfish on a Senko today.
Really? Yeah, I do that about once or twice a year. It's like, what the crap?
Didn't have pliers either.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
You had your hand all up in the mouth.
Oh, yeah. Fun stuff.
Scarvy said, Seth is lose all the way. Antonio Stotco said, I use an ugly stick. Hey, man. Heck yeah. I know guys that love their ugly sticks. Oh, yeah. Abu. Let me see here. Southwest Indiana Outdoors says, Seth, it's okay. It's okay as a dad to be running those budget rods. Haha, 4 kids here, so I get it. 100%. Right. Seth has kids and a brood of ducklings. That
got a whole farm.
I know you got a farm in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Got a lot of mouths to feed.
Yeah, right. SoCal, Fishman, Jordan Lee's got them. Buy 1, get 2 free. Holy crap. $35 each. Bought 6 of them. Great deal. I feel like every time I go on the internet, I see everyone else getting these sick deals, but I never really ever come across them. I don't know. I'm happy for everyone else, but one of these days, I just want to walk into a Walmart where you could walk away with, spending $50 and getting a year's supply of fishing lures and tackle. Antonio Stratko. This is a loaded question. Guys, give me some great setup recommendations. I've been skunked the last 3 times I've been out. Antonio, I'm not going to answer that right now because I need a little bit more information from you. So where are you fishing? Water temp, river, you fishing lake, you fishing pond, what state? And once you give us as much information, then we'll come back and circle back and answer that. But right now, that's impossible to answer. We'll keep on keeping on. All right, so whenever I think Shakeyhead, I'm like, oh, it would make sense that you use some type of bulbous tail that has air in it, right? So it sticks up in the air, or use some type of Z-Man so it floats and sticks up in the air. But your Zoom does not. Have you tried the floating type lures and worms and like, nah, I haven't noticed the difference? You need to go back to your Zoom, or what?
The only time I really I'll use Z-Man baits every once in a while when I'm skipping docks, just because they have a little bit fatter profile. The the Fatty Z or even the Mag Fatties. It's a little bit easier to skip under docks with that thicker profile. With the worm that I'm throwing, it's so thin and so slender that it just, when it hits the water, it just kind of wants to go down.
That makes sense.
But no, to me, when you're moving the bait, the tail comes up off the bottom, obviously. And it being such a slender tail, it has a ton of action. It may not be floating up, imparting that action, but it's moving down there, and those fish are seeing that.
Yeah, I like it. Seth, real quick, for those of you who have any questions for Casey, go ahead and throw those. I'm over here trying to star them. If you have any specific questions around the Shakeyhead, and still waiting to hear back from I forget what his name was, Antonio. We get that answered as well. But what was I thinking? I had a question here, and I'm writing them down, and I don't think all right, so you scope. And first off, and 3 questions came to my mind now. One, I want to know what boat you're running. So let me write that down. We'll get there in a second. But when you're scoping, one, what are you using for FFS?
Mega Live.
Mega Life. So you've been you're an early adopter. You're an early adopter of electronics. At least that's what I've been told. Is that a correct statement?
Yeah. So I mean, when I think it was like 2018, 2019, I got a 10-inch screen on my kayak, and I was like one of the only ones that had that. I'm not going to say I was the only one. There was definitely a couple people that had like a 9 and 10-inch screen, but like there was very, very few people. And I was definitely an early adopter of getting a bigger screen. And the next 2 years, I started seeing people with 2 10-inch screens on there. You know, it started definitely picking up after that. But the reason why I got a bigger screen to begin with, I went from a Humminbird Helix 5-inch to a 10-inch. What made that happen for me was learning side imaging. Once I kind of figured out the side imaging, and this was kind of before live, but once I figured out that side imaging, oh, my mind was blown. There was so much out there to fish that nobody ever fished.
Yeah, it's my story. I love that.
Yeah, and so I mean, that is 2019 season for KBF. I absolutely crushed it. And all the time I was out fishing stuff that nobody fished. At least nobody in the kayaks would fish. You know, you might have some boaters that had kind of dialed it in and figured that out. But it just seems so easy. All you had to do is
Shakeyhead. You locate it, go over there, drop it down, dance it, and rip them up.
Exactly. Yeah,
that's perfect for your type of fishing. I love it. So what do you have now?
So now I have the Humminbird Explorer. I have 2 12s.
Oh, nice. So you got the recent Explorer, their latest.
Yep.
2 12s on your boat. Seth is like over here drooling. Oh, man, I love that. I'd love to see that. That's huge, man. Oh, that'd be awesome. I need to go over to your socials and get a look.
I was looking at the 20-inchers. If I could afford it, I would throw a 20-inch on mine. So I can see everything in HD, man.
I love it. So I asked the question about scoping is because one, I'm going to be getting an Eagle Eye 9. So that's not nearly as powerful as what you guys are running. And so I'm going to have limited distance and limited arrays and limited to what I could see, but it'll be the first time that I can actually start getting, not necessarily, I don't expect to like see a lot of fish underwater. I like see them move. I'm guessing, I'm hoping that with the Eagle Eye 9, I'll at least be able to see and be able to start discerning a bit. But since I don't, and since a lot of people listening in do not, walk us through how fish are reacting to a Shakeyhead, right? Will they hit it before it hits the bottom? Do they go down there and sit on it? Just walk us through some scenarios in your head that you specifically remember, like, oh, I would never have known that if I didn't have this type of visibility.
Yeah, so I was catching smallmouth one time and came across this point, and there was a bunch. You know, you just saw a bunch of fish on the live, and they're scanning around. And I just cast out there towards them, and you'd see the bait fall, and then you'd see those fish freaking just dive straight down to them.
Really?
That was really cool, and similar like we were talking about on docks earlier. I've seen them do that on docks as well, where they're just they see it and they're going down to it. And most of the time when they do that, they're just like kind of going to pick it up pretty quickly. They're not just going to sit there and look at it. If they're coming that far, they're going to eat it.
How often does that happen?
I wouldn't say it's super often.
Okay. So 10 out of 100 times they're going to dive after it.
Yeah. Yeah. And just kind of depending on the lake you're on and like how pressured they are and, yeah, and kind of what kind of mood they're in. If they're feeding and you know, if you got a group of fish, you know, 5 or 6 fish that are just like wolf packing around, yeah, they're going to do that a lot of the times. If you just kind of have a school of fish that's kind of just chilling, sitting there, you know, they may not just go down and hit it. You may have to kind of finesse them a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah. The fish have it's just like bed fishing in like during the spawn. Like fish just have different temperaments, different phases of the day, whether in like a feeding mood or like just today I was on Okeechobee and I threw out a bunch of bass, but some of the bass I threw at automatically just shot over and ate my bait like immediately. The other ones would come over, inspect it, and be like, no, thank you, swim off. And they're all in the same area. Just some of them are just whether they were in a feeding mood or they just have a different temperament. They just nailed it right away. But I always like seeing them on a Nico rig, like come down. Usually I don't typically throw a bottom bait. So like you throwing it and watching them come down or like on suspended fish is different for me. Like I usually throw the Nico on fish that I know are on the bottom, so it's like changing my thought process while I'm listening to talk about this. But I do like seeing the fish chase it down and just waiting for like I test it every once in a while. Like I'll pull just to see if it's like tight. Like I just love it. It's the coolest thing.
So Casey, are you throwing to fish that you see on your scope, or are you throwing to structure that you know likely fish are in that you can't see on your scope?
With the Shakeyhead, most of the time I'm throwing to the structure. I mean, sometimes you'll see the fish swimming around it, but I'm not picking off individual fish necessarily, like you think of when you talk about scoping fish.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So if you throw in a Shakeyhead, right, and they look at it, they're like, no, want none of it, and you got to you're an hour of doing that. What are you moving to next?
I'm either moving lakes or moving spots.
Oh, really? This is like Seth with his. Not exactly. This is with your jerkbait, Seth. So you're like ride or die.
I mean, more than I'd like to admit. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm probably going to try throwing something else in there, but like, there's been a lot of days where I've lived and died by the Shakeyhead. So, it just works so much of the time that it's so hard for me to change it up and do something else.
Is there ever some type of lake structure or cover like, hey, I just can't get this through there and you have to move? What is your like second confidence? I'm asking the same question a different way because I want you to share like what's your thing if you have to move over to something?
I mean, I love throwing a chatterbait. I mean, it's a little bit different. I'm not necessarily doing not necessarily switching from a Shakeyhead to a chatterbait. Fishing those in a little bit different areas a lot of times, but definitely the chatterbaits become like my next go-to, and sometimes depending on where I am, it is my go-to as well. But I love the chatterbait, and it can catch fish. Similar to a Shakeyhead, it'll catch fish anywhere around the country, any time of the year. You just got to put it in the right places.
I can see Casey. This is Scarvy just said this too. Casey has 8 rods with Shakeyheads tied to all of them. I can see you rolling out in the morning, like on the tournament day, just one rod behind you. All these empty rod holders, just one Shakeyhead.
The funny thing is I'll never do that. I'll always have like 10 rods with me, but everybody knows, or at least I know, I'm just throwing the Shakeyhead that day, but I got to have them just in case, maybe.
I didn't realize. And so you got this dialed into, you use one type of hook, you use one type of lure, and man, it's 95% of the time that's what you're fishing. That's awesome, man.
So we didn't talk about colors at all. So the green pumpkin is the go-to color. I have black and I have like June bug. Those are really the only other colors that I'll throw, but I'll throw like black or June bug in Florida a lot of times. That kind of tannic water. Yeah. If the water's just really dirty, sometimes I'll tie on that black, but green pumpkin all over the country, I've done really good on it in all different types of water too. But sometimes if I am going to change it up, it may be to that black or that June bug.
Got it. There's no fleck in there. It's just straight green pumpkin.
It's got black in there.
Oh, does it?
I don't know if you can see.
It's hard to see. Okay, it's green pumpkin, black fleck. Awesome.
Yeah,
the classic.
Yep.
I love it. What's your favorite chatterbait? Your bladed jig?
The jackhammer.
I was on Z-Man's website yesterday. Those things are $19.99 right now.
I just got the mini jack, Darren, 3 of them.
Baby jack.
Or baby jack, yeah. I've never thrown those, but Darren talks about those all the time. I throw the OG jackhammers, but Darren talks about the baby jacks. So.
I love the baby jack. $19.99, and there's no baby jack price versus jackhammer price.
But you don't lose them, Darren. How do you lose a jackhammer?
I lose them. Like I get a pike that'll hit it or a little snap or something stupid. Yeah. I'll get it. I lose them. The second I put a lure over $15 on my line, guaranteed gone.
I mean, I throw it on like, I don't know, 16, 18-pound fluorocarbon.
Right.
And we have gar and gators and some pickerel down here. I don't think I've ever lost, ever.
You just wait.
Out of it.
Yeah, everyone's going to hop on the podcast next week and you'll be like, bro.
I'm not throwing.
How many did you buy?
I bought 3.
3? Yeah. You need a co-signer for that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
No, I love them. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan. Scarby asked, are you guys all repainting them at all? Mine get pretty beat up. I don't really ever touch my lures a whole lot.
I like them beat up. I think they have character.
Oh, yeah? The character gets that little edge they haven't seen before.
Yeah, it's unique.
Casey, what do you think?
So I just recently, and again, I told you earlier that I'm not super technical about my baits. Most of my baits, I just open the package time on and throw them. I have a buddy that ties flies, and I gave him a couple jackhammers. I'm not going to go into too much details on this, unfortunately, but I let him do his thing with a couple of different baits, and I freaking love them. They're amazing.
Did you just tease something out and you're not going to like explain?
Yeah,
come on, Casey.
So I don't even know the terminology for all the
you forgot English.
Tie and fly stuff, but like
I don't know what. What? I don't know.
But he had one bait where we tied in a little bit of gold flash in there. I don't know what it's called, but it had a little bit of like gold flash added to the skirt. Okay. Oh my God, it looks so good. Whether it makes a difference, I don't know, but it's one of those things where if it looks good to you, then it's got to catch fish, right? And it's got to help.
100% has to.
But there's a couple other things. If anybody does any, fly fishing and ties baits up, I'm sure that'll give them some ideas of some things to play around with. But there was a couple different things that he did for me, and I'm gonna buy a pile of baits for next year and give them to him and be like, hey, get me some. And it's one of those things that I don't think it makes a huge difference, but it's something that is different. When you have some of these fish out like Gunnersville or different places, they're seeing chatterbaits all day long. Boats are just circling around throwing the same baits a lot of times. So if you can get something that just looks a little bit different, acts a little bit different, I don't know. I'm not an expert, but I would say that would help at least talk a couple fish into biting, a couple more. Yeah. So
I mean, I like to think it's kind of fun to get into like, I think I have something here that's a little nuanced. So I hear you. Utopia Outdoorsman. I lost 2 jackhammers recently to pickerel. I cried. I hear you. Utopia.
Yeah, it definitely hurts.
I feel you there. Oh, stop the show. Antonio Statko said, does green pumpkin work in Washington? And he gave me $1.99. And I will stop the show. I will stop you mid-sentence, Casey, if someone gives me money to answer a question of theirs. So
I don't blame you.
Yeah, green pumpkin freaking works, in my opinion, everywhere. Every state, freaking, I would say every country. I mean, it's just a classic. I don't get wrapped up in colors. I actually did a video. I'm surprised it didn't go like super go. But the colors that bass actually see, right? They see different, they're in a different color spectrum than humans. So they don't really see colors as much as they see shades. And so green pumpkin just must be one of those money shades, because I've been all over the country. I've been Canada, you name it. For that black green pumpkin black fleck. If I'm buying a lure and it's the first time, it's going to be some variation of green pumpkin black fleck, June bug, and black for darker waters. But your thoughts, Casey? Any additional commentary there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anywhere green pumpkin wouldn't work. I mean, obviously, times it's not always going to work everywhere, but like, yeah, it's going to work if you have clear water for sure. It's definitely a bait I'd tie on and try if I were you.
So there you go, Antonio. I believe Antonio's one thing I was skunked. If you want to get off the skunk train, head over Wendell Fishing and just get off go wacky rig or freaking tie on a Ned with green pumpkin, and you'll be money. I got 2 videos on that. Just type in Wendell Fishing and Ned rig and wacky. If you want to get off that skunk train, that will get you off of it pretty fast. Wolf Walmart said, "Hey, don't let Wendell fool you. He got one free off me." We're talking about the jackhammers. We had a little tournament. I went down there and fished against him and John from Creek Fishing Adventures. And if you won either most fish, first fish, or biggest fish, you get to reach into somebody else's tackle box and pick something. So of course I picked the most expensive lure I could possibly.
Felt around a little bit, felt that blade.
Yeah.
Like, oh, $20.
$20. I felt him like cringe a little bit when I pulled it out. I was like, yeah, I know I got him good. Yeah, 100%. So what's man, we're already at an hour. Let's talk a little bit about your rig, right? Let's talk about the Old Town. It looks like, really quick before I hop into that question, Seth and Casey. Casey will know what this is for. This is something new coming to Wendell Fishing. Seth, any clue what propeller this is?
It's orange, so
orange.
It matches a sign in the back of Casey's.
It does match a sign behind Casey's head. And if you can't read that,
spinning it the correct way. Is that a Torqeedo?
It is a Torqeedo. I got a Torqeedo ultralight sitting up in my living room, and I'm pretty pumped about it. Also, I let all the juice out. I also have a RVR coming to my house next month, so I'm going to put this on the RVR, and I'm going to go flying, like literally flying. I might put wings on my kayak and just take
all kinds of goodies there, Darren.
I know, man.
Holy
when you have friends in low places, good things happen, right? So do you run a Torqeedo, Casey? What do you run on your Old Town, and what do you have?
I don't. I have the autopilot. It's the Minn Kota.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, so walk us through your rig, your 24-inch TV you have on it. How do you have? I had a question that popped up over here. How in the world do you cast with 2 12-inch screens, and how's that placed? Is it on a command center? Just walk us through your whole setup.
So I have it on the rail. So I have them stacked basically, one over top of the other. It really doesn't get in my way. A lot of people think it does. I mean, if I'm skipping sitting down, it may kind of get in the way a little bit, but it doesn't affect me much. And I like having them on the rail versus like this kind of center console that a lot of people are going to now.
Yep.
Just because it keeps that deck free. I'm able to kind of move around on the deck and not have any issues. I can prop my motor up and get to the prop if I need to, if I have any issues with, getting weeds on it or getting fishing line on it. I just have easy access to it and to be able to move around in the cockpit. So having them on that rail, I've thought about switching it up and kind of going in the center on a bar across, but I just don't think that would work well for me.
Yeah. Now, have you been running Old Towns for a long time, or how long have you been in Old Towns?
Yeah, so I think it's since 2017.
Oh, wow. All right, you've been there for a while.
Actually, probably before that. That was when I joined the team. Was the end of 2017. So
yeah, full disclaimer, he is on team on the Old Town team. He's been for a long time. What kayaks have you ran through over the years?
So the Predator 13, a paddle kayak. That was before they had the pedal drive. Then still before the pedal drive, I had the Predator MK, which had the option to put the motor in there. It was just kind of like a beefed up Predator. But I didn't have the motor on that one. And then I switched to the PDL. And then since then I've gone to the autopilot, and I've been in the autopilot since it was released in 2020.
Oh, okay. I'm assuming you can upgrade your boats fairly easily. So you decided, no, I'm staying with the autopilot.
I love the autopilot.
All right. So I'm curious. I've seen the stacked mount. Like, for instance, I was with Austin Hoover. He has a stacked mount on the command center. I don't think I've ever seen a stacked mount on the rail before. What marine mount is that? I'm curious.
So it's actually two different mounts. It just places one over top of the other. So the mount for the lower one is actually just one that I've made. I got some starboard and cut it out in the shape of the base for the graph, and then to add on to the track. It's kind of like a T, and I bolt that to the track. And then I have the ram mount, I think the D size, the kind of bigger one. Okay. And that sits right behind it, but I push it forward to where it's like literally stacked on top of the other one.
Got it.
Nice.
Do you run a stern mounted motor at all to get to where you need to? You just use your bow mounted.
Just the motor with the autopilot.
Got it. All right. Well, this is I'm curious, what's something on your kayak that's like, hey, I have something unusual on my kayak that most people don't, and I love it. Do you have anything like that?
I don't think so. The biggest thing that I've done that a lot of people are doing it nowadays, I've raised my seat up quite a bit. It's so much nicer having that seat higher up. A lot of the kayaks, even with yeah, I mean, it's got two positions. You can raise it, have it in the raised position, but I've raised it like 3 or 4 inches above that.
Oh, so you did modifications on the risers to get it.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's just so much better being able to sit that high. I guess technically you probably lose a little bit of stability, but that kayak's so stable, and most kayaks nowadays are so stable that unless you're in 4 or 5 foot waves, you're not really worried that much about raising the 4 or 5 inches.
Yeah. Squirrel. Yeah, I get a lot of comments because some of the videos I talk about having seat risers, like everyone just loses their ever loving mind. Oh, you're gonna flip over. It's like that. Granted, it is science, right? If you move up, your center of gravity is higher. It's gonna make you a little more tippy. It doesn't automatically mean you're going in the water either.
Well, and we're standing in these kayaks a lot of times anyways, so it's definitely not any worse than that. And I do say if people want to raise their seat to be careful if they start getting in some rough water, to know that it's gonna, you did lose a little bit of stability. You're gonna tip a little bit easier, but as long as you're aware of that, I think and if you can lower it back down, then if you get in that rough water or think you might be in that position where you might tip it, then go ahead and lower your seat back down. But
yeah. Seth, what did you say? It was like,
just go ahead and sit on the floor. If you can't lower your seat back down,
you have to.
Easy. Just sit right on the floor and keep on
trolling. Do what you got to do. Squirrel Fishing over here says, I guarantee I have something on my kayak that no one's ever seen before. By the way, Squirrel, thank you so much. He sent me one of his squirrel fishing T-shirts in the mail. So
nice.
I'm going to be wearing that here shortly.
Squirrels.
Squirrel, come on, you got to let us know what is the thing you have in your kayak that no one's ever seen before. Got to know now. All right, got some other comments coming in from the audience. And if you haven't done so yet, please help me hit that like button. It's one of those things of like, please, we have 43 live right now. I would love to someday, after we get off the show and I go check the likes, and actually it said like 43 or 45. It never does. It's always half. So help me out.
Can they where are they liking from? Do those likes?
Most people are listening in on YouTube. I do have some people, coming in from Instagram. I guess people watching on Facebook. The majority of the people. And there's people going in and out as well. So maybe I guess I need to say it more often. All right. We got Ruben over here. Go Team Old Town for the win. Utopia Outdoorsman said, I love the autopilot, but it's slow to get from A to B. However, once you get there where you're heading, I think there's nothing better. Ruben said, I'd gladly trade speed for spot lock. So I like it. Yeah. I've never had spot lock before. I fish with a buddy that has it, and
oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing. And like that guy said, I wouldn't switch the speed for the spot lock. A bunch of my buddies that I fish with a lot, they have, the big torpedoes.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, they're leaving me in their dust. But then we get to the fishing spot and I may be a couple minutes behind them. But when I hit the spot lock and the wind's blowing, 10 to 15, and I'm just sitting there making cast after cast and they're trying to work their motors, they're like, "Oh man, I need spot lock." I'm like, well, it's a give and take. So, I mean, it's not necessarily for everybody. The speed's huge. I mean, I'll give it to you. The speed is huge, but so is the spot lock for a lot of people. So
you just do both. And you can't fish tournaments like that, but hey, if you like fun fishing, I know some kayaks, if it's rated for it. What did you say, Seth?
Yeah, that GPS, like I have the XI3, so it's called Pinpoint, but Spot Lock, that was one of the, like, there's game changers to like level up your fishing and competitive fishing. And for me, being able to sit on one spot and make casts in the wind, or especially for scoping, like if you're trying to track individual fish, it's like so hard to scope and then like steer with one hand, pedal, like it's really difficult. So like having that Pinpoint Spot Lock and just keeps you at one location to keep hitting targets, that was a game changer for sure.
I'm always nervous though, because I fish with the guy often because he's an officer up in Cleveland and he has like Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesdays off every week. So we always go out. And Jake, you guys know Jake, probably seen him in my video falling out of his kayak a couple of times recently.
Yep.
Well, the first time he fell out, he got what someone in the comments said, he got spot rocked, which it frizzed out on him and just took off and he just flipped out. Casey, you ever had that happen to you?
I've never got dumped by it, but I have been. You got to be careful when you're spot locking around bridges, especially because it'll lose signal and it will go absolutely crazy. I've been slammed into some bridge walls before because of that, and I've learned to not spot lock around bridges.
There you go. Squirrel Fishing said, Jake is all over my feed. That video is at like 1.3 million right now, him falling in the water. And everyone's like, oh, it's fake. It wasn't fake. I just came around the corner and what happened was, and I never actually shared the story, so I can share the story here. We were on Lake Erie. He found a walleye net up on the shore. But those things are massive. And he's like, bro, this is like $120 net. I was like, sweet. And he couldn't put it in like one of his rod holders, one of the 17 that he has, because they're all full. And so he laid it on his deck. And when he moved forward, he tripped over it, and that's when he fell in. And so, but it's the second time in a row because he got spot rocked the first time and then tripped over the net the second time. All right. Utopia Outdoorsman says, got to be careful coming out of spot locks when your previous speed setting was 10 and you hit the prop button. Yeah. I have a feeling someday I'll get into one. I mean, I don't even have a kayak right now that would take a bow mounted motor, but I do have some kayaks on the way. We'll see what happens. I was told I'm getting a flux jet, which I'm excited about that because no one's ever tested that. Might be getting myself in the Old Town at the beginning of the year. I got an RVR coming my way.
You're gonna need another garage.
I'm selling my BKK. Just sold my inflatable to make room. There's some other ones too. Oh, the Keho, Kajo, the Camino Journey, that new company that's rolling out a fleet of them. Hopefully going to be getting in one of those outposts. So I'm going to be in a variety of different kayaks next year. And so we will see. We'll see what happens. The beauty of kind of what I do as a content creator is I'm able to get into a lot of this stuff and see how it actually performs or doesn't perform in some cases, but we will see. And maybe one of those, I'm trying to see which one, probably the Kajo would be the one that would support a bow mounted motor. Maybe I'll find myself in the spot lock world. All right, guys, we're coming down to the last few minutes. If you have a question for Casey, please go ahead and let us hear those in the comments. Seth, do you have anything that's kind of been brewing around your mind?
No, it's been enlightening to listen to the Shakeyhead conversation because it isn't something that I've been doing really in the last like 5-6 years. But I like hearing people that are really confident in a bait and they're like simple with the bait, because that's how I am with my baits. Like I just have a lineup and I just go through the lineup. And if you're not going to eat that, you're just not eating. So like I like hearing that you throw your shaky head, and if they're just not going to eat it, you might do a follow up and like, just move on to the next ones. But no, it's been good. There is a comment over here, Darren.
Did I miss it?
Yeah, Jake H13 asked a question, said the best lure for bass fishing in a lake with about 3 feet of visibility and not much vegetation.
I have a feeling I know what Casey's going to say.
Yeah, Casey, go ahead.
Shakeyhead, come on.
Nope.
I love it. Now, really quick, because I don't think I even remember this. Do you like live and die by a certain Shakeyhead hook? Did you mention that earlier in the show?
Yeah, so I didn't mention which one it is. So this is a tungsten Shakeyhead, and it's a guy makes it. He lives by Gunnersville. It's Jig Shack, and this is the Reaper Shakeyhead, and it's the only one I throw anymore.
So I'm curious why you, as the, oh my gosh, I feel like a new lure or jig or terminal tackle companies popping up every second of the day. Why did you end up landing on that one? Because I'm sure you've been through a smorgasbord of Shakeyhead hooks.
I've definitely tried a lot, and there's a few that are. There's one, the one I threw before this, I liked really good. It was a lead, and you could get it in a lot of places. I think it was a do it mold. That one was really good. It was a football jig head.
Do you make them yourself?
I do not know, but I had a buddy that did, and that's where I started throwing it. But this one, if you can kind of see, it's a little bit round head. It's like a round head, and it's been like smushed a little bit. It's very similar to a football head, but
like an arky head. I think they're called like arkies a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit of
arky jig heads. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know what it is, but for me, it doesn't get hung up a ton. I can pull it through some thick cover, and it just works for me.
Huh.
That's good.
The tungsten is great as well. I mean, you can really feel, again, pairing it with the casting rods, you can literally feel everything. If you're taking a little rock, a little tree limb, like you're getting a bite, you're feeling every single thing with that harder tungsten and those casting rods.
Is there a line that you die by? You've been fishing for a long time.
So I've recently I use the Yozuri line now.
Okay. You say now, you must have went through some.
I've definitely used some. I've used like Sunline. I've used it all. The Yozuri line has been pretty good to me recently, and I really like it. It's cheaper than most of your other line, and they have a factory that they make it in, and it's not, and that's the way they're able to keep the prices down on it a lot, is that they're actually making it there in house, and it's been some great line for me here recently. So
yeah, okay. I'm curious. Have you ever seen I'm just thinking out loud now. So this is a football head. So this would make sense that this is going to get caught up in the grass. Yours with the Arky, I believe, Seth, you're correct on that. The Arky style jig head. I wonder if you've ever seen a shaky head with any type of like, almost like a swim jig, where it really comes through the grass if you wanted it to. Have you ever seen that type of setup before?
I can't say that I have.
I mean, not like it just comes to more of a point. So it gets through grass. I don't know. Just thinking out loud. I'm sure they're out there. Everything is out there. But man, Casey, thank you. Oh, we got another question. Almost closed down the shop. Almost landed that plane. Scarvy, are shaky heads good year round? All water temps. What's your thoughts on that?
They are. Yep. And any water temps. You know, in the winter when it's, you can use a little bit bigger of a bait if you want and slow down your presentation quite a bit if it's depending on where you're at and around the country. But if you have a real cold winter, you're going to definitely want to slow it down a bit. And when it starts getting warmer, when those fish are more active, you can definitely move it around a bit more. But yeah, all year round, you'll be able to catch fish on it.
Yeah, I love it. Well, folks, that's a wrap for tonight. I got to get up at 4:00 a.m. or tomorrow morning and head up to it. You're not going to feel bad for me once I say I'm heading up to Lake Erie to go fishing. But we will see what happens there. But I wanted to give a shout out to the show sponsor, darkhorsetackle.com. And you get stuff like this in it, right? And you get to learn on the show about Shakeyhead. So now I not only have a hook, I have some soft plastics in this box that I can hook up, literally start fishing tomorrow if I wanted to. Johnny Bennett, thank you so much for a couple bucks you throw this way. Great show. Appreciate your comment there. But next week, folks, we have the elusive Greg Blanchard on the show. I literally had someone, because I posted it out there, like, hey, I can't believe you got Greg to come on your show. He's really hard to get a hold of. I was like, well, I saw him at ICAST and was like, hey, might as well ask him in the moment. So I have him on the show. We're going to be talking about September bass fishing, so that should be a good one. But Casey, thank you so much for dropping the knowledge bombs around the Shakeyhead. I have a little bit more confidence to tie this up, kind of know a little bit more about what I'm doing thanks to your years of experience in figuring out what works and doesn't work. So thank you so much for that. If you haven't done so yet, please hit that like button. But I'll see you next Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. You guys have a good one. Thank you.